there I went into real estate, but I didn't go into real estate like I went into mortgage. I was a mortgage broker for a while. I was doing about 30 or 40 loans a month. I was doing very good, and then I got into real estate investing.
Okay.
So I started buying and fixing up and selling houses.
Was it like, was it a flip, or were you like a long-term investor where you get rental properties? What was your strategy?
I would go in and buy distressed properties, fix them up and sell. Okay. That's what I would do. And I did one. I'm like, wow, this is pretty easy. I made $26,000 on it. I was like, wow, this is nice, right? so I bought another one. Then I bought two, and then I started doing in my time there. I was doing probably about 40 houses a month every month. Wow. I ended up having about 1,000 units. In 2005, 2006, I stopped because the market crashed. Well, when the market crashed, and if you remember that, it was really bad time back then. Mm-hmm. The market crashed. I lost 600 properties because they literally dropped the price like you wouldn't believe, and it caught me, right? So I ended up selling the other 400 to pay off the 600, so that I broke even.
Broke even and kind of got out of the. Right? What interested you in real estate? Like from what interested you in becoming a mortgage broker for one, and then the transition over to being a real estate investor? What was that what was that interest in?
Well, I first learned how to do loans, right? So once I remembered how to do loans, then I'm like, wow, I can do loans for myself and do these properties. So it kind of went hand in hand. And then all of a sudden I was doing seminars and teaching people how to buy and do a flip properly and not get caught by the FBI by doing it wrong, right. because I taught them how to do it right, not like let's say Carlton Sheets or somebody else was teaching them the wrong way, and all those people got in trouble for it. So I always wanted to do things correctly and teach people. So my pizza delivery guy would come by, and I'd say, hey man, how would you like to be a millionaire, right? So I would teach him how to buy houses, fix them up, sell them. I'll never forget it. The guy came in to fix my copier one time, and he says, well, what do you do here? I said, we do real estate. How would you like to come to a seminar? I'll teach you how to become a millionaire. And I would teach people how to become millionaires in real estate. It was a great gig while it lasted, right? So once that stopped.
So that's 2007, 2008?
It's about 2008, yeah. I got out clean, and I decided that I wanted to do something really, really cool, right? Okay. So I said, what is going to happen in the world when the world crashes? What's going to be left standing? And then I remembered that it's going to be commodities. It's going to be gold, it's going to be diamonds, and it's going to be oil. Those are the three things that are going to withstand this bad time. So I packed up, and guess where I went?
Where?
To Africa.
To Africa.
So okay. So in 2008, I packed up.
Which part? Like which country in Africa?
I was in Mali, and then I also was in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
So in Sierra Leone at that time, when I went there and I started looking at everything, I probably was honestly one of the only white people there at that time. Mm-hmm. Because it was literally wartime, and they had that blood diamond thing going on at that time. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yep, Sierra Leone. Yep, sure did.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got there, and I'm like, okay, now I got to learn this, right? Because I don't know anything about diamonds. I don't know anything about gold, so I got to learn it. So you had an interest. You didn't know anything about it yet. You moved to Sierra Leone. Without any really like prior knowledge in this industry, but just kind of knowing that takes a lot of guts. What gave you that confidence? What gave you the belief that like this is something that you could execute against? Like that's very risky. Well, here's what I did. I decided that because I was in the military, we were always going to different countries, right? So it didn't. I liked going to different places. Right, so that helped me. But when I got to Sierra Leone, it was a different world. It literally was a different world. There was probably over about 1 million people with no arms and no legs on the street because of the war. If you remember the movie, there was a lot of, so here I got 1 million people sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how can I help them while I'm making money in my mind, right? So I would go into the bush. The bush is like the bush. I don't know if you've ever been to Africa, but if you haven't, you should. Okay, and this is West Africa we're talking about, not South Africa where it looks like Boca Raton, Florida. Right? Okay? So I'm in the bush, and I lived there for 3 years. 3 years, right? And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to live in the hut, and I wanted to learn from the chiefs, and I wanted to live like them so I could understand it. So as soon as I did that, now I became what they call me today is African, right? I'm half white and half African.
African. That's the first time I heard that. That's interesting. Okay.
So while I did that, I ended up adopting a son.
Okay.
Right. So now I had my son with me, and the reason why I got my son is because they were actually going to chop his arm off when these rebels when I was going into the bush. I said, "Hey man, how much not to chop his arm?" He said, "Well, he lost a soccer game, and we were betting against him." And I said, "Well, how much not to do it?" They said, "Give me $100 and you can have it." I said, $100? Okay. Handed him $100, and he's been my son ever since. Now he speaks 7 different languages. He's running for office. He's running for office in Sierra Leone. I mean, it's just amazing.
That's amazing.
I'm so excited about it because he just called me the other day. He said, "Papa," I said, "What?" He says, "I'm running for office." I said, "Finally, all right."
That's great, man. That
was exciting.
That is.
So now I go back and I start learning the mining techniques and the whole thing, and did very well. So I stopped what I was doing in Sierra Leone, and I went to Mali. And while I was in Mali, we brought in $2 million worth of machinery to start gold mining, right? Built a huge everything. It was just beautiful. And then guess what happened? The Al-Qaeda came in and stormed the building and took over the presidency, and I barely got out of there alive, right? So I went back to Sierra Leone, and I started working there. And we've been pulling diamonds out. But what we set up was, out of the money that comes out of the mine, 30% of it goes back to the village so that they can have roads and churches and all of that stuff.
Reinvestment.
So that's one of the things we set up. Well, back into the community. What they do for
exactly.
Us, right?
Yep. Reinvesting back into the community. Yes.
Right. So we started doing that, and then here I am, always in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden they shut down the airports, and now we got Ebola to deal with. I'm there during the Ebola crisis. Okay, I'm seeing people dying. I mean, Ebola was really, really bad, and I can just tell you, without being too graphic, that your insides completely explode when you have Ebola.
Oh my God!
So all your organs. It's really a bad thing, and then all of a sudden it spreads to the next person, spreads to the next person.
Yeah.
So it was really bad.
Yeah.
So we fought it and we beat it. We beat it right in Africa, so it didn't really spread the way this virus spread, But what I found was there was 28 kids with no parents. There was no parents because they had died from Ebola. Nobody wanted to touch these kids because they thought that they had Ebola and they were going to get it. And and I was the only one stupid enough or smart enough to realize that I'm going to hug these kids. They're like, "What are you doing? You can't hug them. You can't hug them." Said,
what brought on the urge to hug them?
Well, they had lost their parents.
Yeah. Okay.
They had lost their parents, and everybody was looking at them like they were the plague, And my spirit doesn't allow me to do that, Okay. So what I did is I got together and we created an orphanage, and we put the 28 kids in the orphanage. And it's to this day, I still work this orphanage. I fund it myself. I do everything. We have a 501c that we haven't raised any money for. It's been just money that we put in for the kids.
Yeah, like a private foundation.
But now the kids have gone through school. They're getting ready to go through college now. So now I got to start raising money so I can put them all through college. But these kids,
most people have 2 kids going through college. You have 28 that are going through college.
And I have 4 adopted sons and 1 grandbaby too.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
That's in Africa, and then I have 1 son here in the United States,
in the United
which
States.
I hope to introduce my 4 sons to him very soon. Where he's old enough now where I can bring him to Africa. So when this stops, this is what I'm going to do. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. So help me understand. So one of the things that I'm learning about you is, I guess I'll use the word adaptable and adaptability. Like you have a higher level of adaptability than most people. And it sounds like some of it is genetic in terms of, salesmanship in the family. But I have to imagine the time in the service gave you and equipped you with some tools to be able to do that, to go into different countries, kind of quickly spot opportunities and spot kind of like the essentials. And so I would love for you to help me understand, like, how are you able to adapt so quickly in a new industry, new country, new situation?
One of the things I've always said and instilled in my son that's here in the United States with me, I said, listen, I have to be able to drop you off in the middle of anywhere, of any state or any country, and you got to learn how to survive, Because if you can't survive in that type of atmosphere, you're never going to survive in the world, Because it's real important that I like to just pick up, move, and start over, because it's such an amazing feeling when you did it all, with what you have, your 2 hands and the Lord, right? So that's what I go with. So, and wherever God tells me to go, I go. There's no question. There's no nothing. I'll get a message. Hey, you need to go to this place. Like I needed to go to China. Guess what? I was in Africa when Ebola hit, right? And now I'm in China when COVID
hits. Yeah.
So if I'm told to go somewhere, I go. I don't question. So that's another part of why I go to different places. And I've been all over the world, all over.
Okay.
And through this, what I did is I said, hey, you know what? My son Zachary, who's here, he's getting ready to go into high school, right? So I'm going to have to pull back from Africa a little bit and be in his life. Mm-hmm. So that's where basketball came into play.
Okay,
right?
Interesting.
So
okay.